Central Texans reeling as destructive storms create heartache.
A lot of people in this area are still walking around trying to figure out what's next.
The remnants of the May 22nd storm, leaving businesses closed and some Central Texans without income.
I'm sure that a lot of these people are in the same situation that I'm in.
Homeowners are managing loss, looking at their neighborhood in shambles.
Leaves and tree limbs down everywhere.
Well, I felt like the whole house was about to blow out, in circles.
Inside, they're housing 50 people who were displaced by the tornado. Crews have been working tirelessly.
This roof completely damaged over here with a down power line right in front of it.
He said the storm actually gave him PTSD.
I can't believe this happened on Adams.
It was a very intimidating 15 minutes, It was the power of God and power of storms is significant.
Yeah, that day was just a normal day. It was a Wednesday. Wednesdays for us is a day that we have both evening shift teams that are working at the same time. We call it Fat Wednesday because we have more people at work.
It didn't look that bad over here. It was kind of just, cloudy and overcast. It was drizzling a little bit. But the clouds parted going over 2305.
It started as a normal day, honestly. The weather predicted some weather later in the evening, but nothing too crazy.
We saw a news report at that time that said there were over 100-mile-per-hour straight line winds at 317, which is just a couple miles from our station. So we knew, tornado or not, this is not going to be a good experience. With over 100-mile-an-hour straight line winds, that's going to damage structures and cause massive disruptions regardless of whether there's a tornado or not.
I was just going to the gym, You don't expect anything like that to happen to anyone. I don't know where everybody was headed or what their goals were, but there were cars all the way down West Adams. It was packed.
They're driving down the highway, they're seeing how bad the weather's getting, they're pulling in and starting to crowd inside the stations to take shelter as well. So that was kind of our here comes something moment.
That day was a really interesting day. I've covered a lot of tornadoes over the course of my meteorologist career. I've been out in the field for a lot of tornadoes. That was the first one that's ever come that close to the station that I was in, but it definitely was a scary moment.
My name is Casey Shepard, and I am a sergeant with the Temple Police Department. Everyone has issues, personal issues, whether it be finances or relationship issues, just like everybody else out in the community. And officers really have to leave that at home when they come to work. So we have a whole different group of people we have to take care of, and it takes a really strong family at home to understand that, because there's a lot of sacrifices that are made.
I'm Brett Epperson. I'm a captain on A shift.
I'm Josh Simon, and I'm a driver with Temple Fire. I actually got a call from my wife right after the sirens went off, and she was scared. She was at home with the kids, and she asked me to come home, but I couldn't. We were getting ready for dinner and noticed things were getting a little bit darker outside. Ironically, we were cooking hamburgers that night, and our firefighter actually put a helmet on because it started to hail. So he put his helmet on to go out to the grill and get the patties off the grill, and that wind just kicked up.
This is a several mile wide hail core that is moving right towards Temple, and I told you the heaviest is probably going to miss downtown Temple, but we're still going to get probably 2-inch hail here in downtown Temple.
We started tracking the storm. It was well west of Temple when we started taking a look at it, and it was really showing some signs of some very large hail. We're talking 2.5 to 3-inch hail on our radar, so that was kind of our primary concern. We were really focusing more on it as a hail threat than it was a tornado threat, but as it got closer and closer and moved east towards Temple, we started seeing some of those signs of that tightening rotation, those tornado signatures that we always look for in storms.
If you are in West Temple, this is heading your way.
We were still kind of focused on that hail threat, but as it kind of came through Morgan's Point and got closer and closer to 317, we were seeing that rotation sort of tighten up. And as it came through Temple, it sprouted that tornado, and obviously we all know it moved through West Adams, kind of picked up near I-35, and then kind of came back down towards Heidenheimer.
The smallest area, the strongest part of the core will likely slide right along 190. However, That's not the only problem. The problem is this whole hail core is roughly the size of Temple.
I did the thing that you're not supposed to do. I got in my car and I started driving that way. It's just the helpless feeling of knowing I have officers out there, knowing we have a ton of citizens that live out in that area, and wanting to try to get there to help them, even though I knew in the back of my mind that I wasn't going to be able to do anything to help them in that moment. I couldn't sit here at the building and just, wait for something bad to happen.
My name's John Anderson. I'm the head chef, kitchen manager down at 3 West L House and Grill. My crew was heroes that night. They ushered everybody into the walk-in, into safe spots. They had the customers in, and my crew was on the outside hugging everybody, trying to protect all the customers.
3 West L House and Grill in the middle of this here tornado. Everybody's nice and safe though. They still drink. Everybody, please get back around those corners, please. Everybody, get in the bathroom. Put your heads down, please. I gotta get my phone. Oh, where's it at? Where were you sitting? That table down. Right there. The one flipped.
As long as I can remember, I'm 5th generation Temple. I don't remember a tornado touching down. I remember it being close. I remember them around the area, but I don't remember it actually taking stuff out.
I didn't know there was a tornado. The reason I didn't know is because I turned my emergency alerts off on my phone. Because they would go off all the time, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do about this. And they would just blast. So I turned those off, and apparently everybody got it except me.
Temple is near and dear to my heart. It is my foundation. I love this sound, and I would do anything for it.
You can see hazard lights, you can see people pulling over, people driving slowly, our lights are flickering. So this is a situation moving through Temple right now. And again, and there goes our power. Are we still on air?
Yes, okay, well, the
but
power
we can't see anything because the lights are off. Okay,
out.
we have to wait for let me go see if I can reset the lights.
I'm Ryan Leamer, and I survived the Temple tornado.
My car skipped between this gap right here and came, or potentially over the cars. My truck got picked up by the tornado.
Called my aunt to let her know, hey, this weather's crazy. I'm not coming to pick up, my son tonight, so, just be prepared to keep him for the evening. And she said to me, she goes, yeah, there's actually supposed to be a tornado touchdown somewhere in Temple. And as she said that, large pieces of debris were starting to get thrown at my truck. So I was like, I think I'm in it. And I just hung up on her, and probably about 10 seconds later is when I was airborne. My window exploded and I was up in the air, and that's where my handle on the situation went away. And so I landed right here in the middle of the parking lot. My truck was upside down. I took a second to kind of get my bearings, because my first thought was okay, I can't even believe I'm still here type of thing.
I was supposed to pick him up yesterday. His car seat's over here in the wreckage somewhere. That's the first thing I saw when everything calmed down. I looked over there and seen his car seat about 20 feet from the truck, and I was just, grateful, like I said, grateful to be alive.
I started to just make sure I could feel everything, wiggle your toes, wiggle your feet, check your neck. And I was just kind of laying there. I was like, well, stay in the truck, because it's not going to come pick you back up. It's going to just keep going wherever it's going.
On May 22nd, around 5 o'clock, my wife calls me and says, hey, we got a tornado watch. And I told her, grab the kids and the dog and go to the tub. That's the only safe place to go. She went in there. At first, she grabbed the kids. She forgot the pets. She went and grabbed the pets. When she opened the door, all she heard was the train coming. And the train means tornadoes on top of the house.
I don't know, my heart starts pounding. It was really, really fearful, because I've never been in anything like that. I've never heard trees falling. I've never heard it's like you could hear the crunching of the bins, the people's sheds. You could hear it. It's like you could hear it, and I'm telling my daughter, get in this hole and don't come out. Just stay in here, stay in here, stay in here. Phone lines were not working. We couldn't talk to anybody. It was just it was an overrushing, terrible, terrible event for me. I don't know. I don't like to think about it.
All she saw was rain coming inside the house, the train, the noise, the loud noise. She panicked. I was on the phone with her, and I told her, don't worry about it, honey, just stay in there.
Jump in the seat, buckle up, and hang on for dear life, because you're there for the ride. It's sound, it's vibration, it's the wind, it's everything hitting you like a freight train. And you feel it in your chest.
Connie Renee Brown. I've been here 59 years.
And almost 60 years being here, have you ever experienced a tornado?
Never. Never.
I just grabbed the edge of my back windshield and pulled myself straight through, but my hips got stuck because it was like, it broke in at an angle like this. So like there was room on both sides, but I was blocked by my seats. And in the middle there was an opening, but it was, you know, like I said, smaller than the rest of the windshield. So I had to pull myself through there and got caught up. And then I like laid under the truck bed and I rolled out. And I couldn't figure out where I was for a second because this didn't look like this, obviously. There was no sign up there and the glass was all shattered out. But it looked like a building that was going under construction. So I just ran inside there and hid in a doorway.
It took me an hour because I was in Houston driving back. And I was worried about her because her condition by having a double lung transplant. So I was trying to make it here as fast as I could. I made it here. I saw the whole devastating area.
My name is Ophelia De La Rosa, and I'm known around here by Office. I live here in Temple. It's 63 years. The wind was swirling around like a donut, just in circles. Bad. It tore the roof of the building. Half of the building was ripped off, and the wind was coming and blowing and going on circle. It was blowing the water, the rain, with the water everywhere, and then the ceiling was coming down. The fluorescent light was swinging. She said, "Miss Ophi, we need to get out. It's danger."
For us in the studio, it was so loud, the hail and the wind, as that storm came by our station here in downtown Temple.
Maybe we can just get a video for like. My dogs are probably so scared.
Oh, I called my cats. They are so scared.
And by the time it got here, I mean, we're talking 1.5 to 2 inch hail, but it was so loud. And then we noticed our awning came down off of our back patio. It was chaos as it came through. And then as it came through Temple, we lost internet service, we lost 5G, we lost cellular network. So we didn't have any weather data to go off of. Thankfully, by that point, the tornado had kind of picked up and moved past I-35, but it was intense. Our producer Samantha just said this is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. These are very large hailstones. Even taking the wind out of the equation, taking the tornadic potential out of the equation, these hailstones are extremely destructive. I haven't looked outside, but I can just tell by the sound they are creating when they hit our roof. These are very large hailstones. And like I said, even though the 3-inch part of that core may have missed downtown Temple, we are getting at least, and again, I'm making an estimation based on what I can hear because I'm still waiting for my computer to boot up, but probably 2-inch hail. I know a lot of the other people in the station were hunkered down, and we were in the studio, which is a fairly safe space, but again, it was so loud. We were a little nervous the roof was going to come down on us for sure.
But look how wide the hill core is, man. I mean, it's covering a vast area right now.
It's the size of Temple and Belton.
All right, so we are getting reports from Temple Fire Department that a tornado is on the ground in the area of 3rd and French in the city of Temple.
I was so nervous at the time, and I was crying and praying, and then I looked down and it was getting cloudy, so I grabbed whatever I could, turned off the lights, and I rushed back. In the name of Jesus, I stepped on the gas, and I just barely got home.
My work day had kind of finished, and I'm at home, and we're just kind of sitting down for dinner, and that's when everything changed. It kind of started getting that weird dark. Right before a tornado, it almost like the wind stopped for a second, which you would imagine it being super windy, but it just kind of like halted. And when you live in Temple and Belton, no matter what the storm is, when it hits the lake, it usually breaks up. So you say, oh, it's going to break up. The water's going to break it up, right? No big deal. Well, it didn't. And it turned straight for us. And about that time, it happened so fast that I could not get a hold of the staff here.
As it came across 317, the main core of the storm with the largest hail and that potential tornado that we talked about that obviously has now been confirmed was within several hundred yards of my house. So my first instinct was, is this going to hit my house? And then as it continued tracking through town, I realized that it was showing those signs of tornadic rotation. I started thinking about all of the businesses on West Adams. I started thinking about all the homes that were in the path. And then as I got closer and closer to downtown, I started thinking about how we can stay on air throughout this event if this comes by the station. Thankfully it didn't. My only thought was we have to stay calm, we have to stay professional, and we have to stay active and continue to communicate information through this event.
You probably can hear over our mics how the rumbling of the roof is by those hailstones that are falling right now. So hopefully you have put your car under some covering or protected your car in some way. Again, that storm is moving right over our studio here in Temple in Bell County. Again, that's where that warning is in place until 7 p.m. So keep that in mind. Stay in your safe zone right now. Our lights are flickering, so maybe yours are too, but we're back on air now, and we're gonna wait for our computer to reboot.
We see it turn, we're watching the weather, things are going crazy. And then about that time I get a phone call from the baristas, and I answer it, and they're telling me kind of what they're seeing, what's happening, and I'm like, okay, I don't think it's safe to leave, but let's just figure out what's happening. I don't think it's gonna be much, but I think if we just stay local and don't leave, I think we'll be fine. Well, turns like 10 minutes later, it's a full-blown tornado. But in that moment of waiting, when the phone just cut off, it was that fear of the unknown. I'm a mom, and a lot of people who work for us are the younger college-age kids, even high schoolers, and so it was that moment of, I can't protect you, and I don't know what's happening, and I just I think I just broke down.
All the way back into that bedroom, all of that's gone. We all thought, never in a million years did we think one would come straight down this part of town. And it just made me cry, honestly. I'm gonna cry talking about it, but it's just the loss.
Thank goodness our community reacted so fast, and I think linemen and firefighters were out here in like 10 minutes cleaning up stuff. Hours go by and all these pictures and videos of the store start to come through, and I just can't believe it. I can't believe we've been open for like a year and 3 months, and all this hard work that we put into it and everything. I just for a moment it flashed before my eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're done.
I moved back, a couple months ago, I'd say in December, and I'd heard about it. My parents live right down the street, so I'd known about the tornado and how devastating it was. So seeing the rebuild, maybe the last 6 months, it was very interesting, to see how bad it was, when I got here. When I got the job here, I was able to see some footage and camera footage, and the tornado literally came right through this building and through 3 West as well, our sister properties.
We got tow up over here. It's all right, hold on. I'll give you a quick tour. Oh, it's all right. Saved a couple people. You know what I'm saying? We had the roof cave in. Hold on. It ain't so bad though. Nobody got hurt. We got everybody covered. A couple cars flipped over and whatnot, and then we got 2x4s sticking out of the roof and stuff. Hey, look, watch, I'm gonna go. Power lines is down. Let me duck this real quick. Hold on. Nobody got hurt. That's all that really mattered. So I was at the bar. I'm bartending today. I'm sitting there. I look out. I see this kid. He outside, and he got this look of despair on his face. Yeah, we had a roof cave. He was sitting at the table right under this where this roof caved in. So I run outside and I check. Not even 15 seconds after I get everybody into our little safe space, this caved in. Something flew through this window, took it out. Hell, yeah, it went down around here. I hope everybody else around here doing okay. Y'all let me know if y'all need anything. I'm all right. I'm still alive.
This was so out of the ordinary for us. It was unbelievable. I don't think that thing lasted maybe 5 seconds, but it tore into everything over here that could be tore into.
You have a confirmed tornado at airport in the loop.
The whole entire place is just full of water, and I got to give the Temple, the night worker, props that he cleared this place out.
As you can see, I have busted windows on the house. As you can see, I have leakage in the house. I know it's a busy time for everyone, but if we all pull together, maybe this can happen for everyone to pull together to get this to working so we can get back to normal and moving forward.
You said you started in Iraq. The noise and the scariness of it reminded you of that?
It gave me the flashback of it, yes, sir.
So I started hearing the sirens, and my son, we own Barking Oaks Pet Resort, and he said, I'll come get you. And I said, no, stay there. And the sirens kept going on. I said, there's sirens, the tornado's coming. And he goes, no, there's no tornadoes on Adams. And I said, yeah, it's coming. And everything gets black. And I go towards the window and I see silence, nothing moving. And then the trees start just waving back and forth. And all of a sudden I scream at him, stay in the building, the tornado is right here. And I run to the back and I grab the 2 dogs and I get in the bathroom. And I'm on the phone with him and I'm screaming, I'm gonna die. And he goes, it's okay. And then I call my daughter and she gets on the phone and then she says, Mommy, you're okay. And I peeked out the door and there's no roof. Like the whole thing is gone. And the only thing that was left was the top of the bathroom. That's it. So everything else is gone in there. You can see the whole roof is gone. If you look at the front of the building, the policemen and the fire people said, I can't believe you're here.
6 News anchor Bailey Bates here. I am in a neighborhood in West Temple, just outside of 317, just south of Charver Elementary School. This area was one of the areas that saw the most extensive damage from a potential tornado that ripped through here on Wednesday night. And what we have seen in this neighborhood is there are lots of roofs that have been torn off and are completely missing. There's power lines down in quite some areas, and you can see right here, this power line is laying across this yard here. And up on here on this house, if you are able to see this roof is completely gone. This is what most of the houses in this neighborhood are experiencing tonight, and a lot of others across Temple. We talked to one person who lives in an apartment complex between Airport Road and West Adams, and her entire ceiling caved in. There's insulation covering her apartment. She had to pack bags for her and her kids to go somewhere else for the rest of the night.
Like the wind is picking up, then it started sounding like a train and the wind just got too heavy, and I don't know, I just started hearing heavy. It was just too heavy. Like I knew it was a tornado outside. I am upset because I have to leave my apartment and it's caved in, you know. But I mean, I guess it's bittersweet because I mean my lease is about to be up, so.
And y'all are safe?
Yeah, that's the most important thing. We're safe.
This mom of 2 is just thankful that her and her baby girls are both safe tonight. In this neighborhood in West Temple, you know, we've seen a lot of people packing up cars, packing up bags of their stuff because they can't stay here, and now they don't know when they'll be able to return.
The thing with storms in general and tornadoes more specifically is it is kind of a game of chance, because we do have such a large area here in Central Texas. It is possible for a tornado to pop up anywhere. As far as a geographic reason for that, you know, there's not really a rhyme or a reason why tornadoes pop up and come down where they do. So I can't say it's because of the geography of the area. I can just say you know, on that day Temple was in the path.
What's the damage to some of your homes, to both your homes?
More than $20,000
at least. Yeah, we've got 2 fences down. We've got roof damage on the back. Just miscellaneous things. We've got 2 or 3 trees down.
My air conditioning was moved 5 feet. Yeah, and I just had that put in like 2 years ago. And of course her chain link fence next to me and my privacy fence just kind of mangled itself together, and it's in pieces. So yeah, there's glass in the pool, from the table, everything. It's just going to be a massive cleanup. So we're talking quite a bit.
I drove up on the intersection of Adams and Meadowbrook, which the tornado had ravaged that area. It was really sad seeing the way that it had, you know, just completely wiped out structures that we were familiar with.
Cars got picked up all down here, lifted, dropped back onto their tires. You know, people's got their vehicles pushed from gas pumps into the gas station buildings. Like, there was a lot of stuff like that happened. I was just the only one that got launched. I was in the wrong spot, wrong time. And, you know, anybody can be. So like I said, just stay home. There's nothing you need to do out here that's that serious.
I look down the road and I see 2 like 5th wheel campers that have been blown over, clearly hit by the tornadoes. I went back, got in my car, and went over to Extreme Cheer. And I was really shocked by what I saw there. The gym area of the facility had completely collapsed. It was completely exposed. You could see the sky from standing inside the facility, and the north wall of the building was completely gone. And but we went in there, and pretty quickly after we got there, we found out that they were actually having lessons at the time.
I truly believe that our staff saved lives. They did everything they could. And as they were directed to do so, and that plan just fell in place, and I really truly believe that's what saved their lives.
The rain was pouring so hard, it was just cars, emergency vehicles. You could kind of see some of the stuff that was broken out, like the signs that had fallen down, the poles that had fallen. It was pitch black almost, because all the lights being out and everything.
So I go out front to my house, and I just remember like looking, and I was like, wow, this is like the real deal.
What is one image from that day that sticks in your mind?
The nightfall during the day and the sheer destruction. Just the speed at which it happened. It was so fast. You really didn't have time to think. If you thought about something instead of doing it, chances are it was already too late. It happened so fast.
Most people hunkered down and then got out of the way. I think there was one report of an individual that was in a vehicle that was lifted up and thrown in the parking lot of La Rive, and all they found were a blood stain where he was, but he had gotten himself out of there and sought medical attention on his own. So the community really did a great job of not starting to bog down. That was what was impressive about that whole thing, is that we weren't getting a lot of non-emergency calls for trivial stuff there, and most people were handling their own business very, very well. Neighbors were helping neighbors, helping to clear roadways, helping to do damage assessments and check, and that was really impressive.
I have a whole bunch of power lines on the roadway along with vehicles that are damaged. That's going to be 453. I'll check on it.
So the biggest event that I kind of remember from that day, there was an accident on 317 that two cars had gotten blown into the cow pasture off the main road. And so I remember pulling up to that, seeing the cars there. I've never seen cars move that far into a pasture before, even from regular accidents. And I could just see that there was somebody down there, along with another officer from Morgan's Point, just down there trying and get some stuff done. There was an off-duty soldier there. His name was Sergeant First Class Garcia. He was already at one of the vehicles trying to get the lady out because she had actually gotten thrown into the back seat from how the accident was. So we got her out, and then we had to try and escort them over to power lines and a down fence to kind of get them back to my car where we put them in until we could get them to the next place they needed to go.
Glory to your name, God. Oh, you are the great I am. Oh, there's none like you, Lord. There is none like you.
I got caught in it, and I was praying, and I asked God to give me one more chance. And I guess I was here for a reason. My truck got destroyed with me in it.
The thing that we have to remember is that while we can be worried and we could have our fears and things like that, they're looking at us to be an example on how can we help them push through this moment, because there's more things that we have to accomplish, and there's things that they have to get to in order to get to the point that they're getting the help they need. So if they're at an accident like that one, we can be surprised at the amount of damage, we can be surprised by the injuries, but we can't let that show too much, because we have to give them the confidence when they look at us that we know what we're doing, we know that they can rely on us, and that we know what we're going to be doing next.
I just didn't know if that was glass. Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah. So you just do what you need to do, honey.
Okay, I'm gonna sit right here. I'm doing what I need to do. Be still.
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get you that.
Right now, stay in that safe zone. Don't try to look outside. Just continue to listen to our voice as we are going through this situation together. I know it sounds scary. I know we're in a very terrifying situation right now, but we're going to keep you all covered as we go through this together.
Lots of thunderstorms rotate. Only a handful of them actually get tight enough rotation and get rotation close enough to the surface to produce a tornado. So a supercell is just a rotating thunderstorm. It can produce strong winds, it can produce large hail, and it can eventually it can also produce tornadoes as well. So that is kind of the life cycle of a supercell. Now with the one that came through Temple that day, the tornado came down right around 317, moved across West Adams. The rotation weakened by the time it got to close to 363, and so that tornado actually picked up. The exact same storm continued moving east-southeast across town, and then eventually, as it got over Heidenheimer, that rotation tightened back up and it produced a second tornado. So it was the same storm, it was just a matter of how strong that rotation is, how close it is to the surface.
My name is Candy Wilcox. I live in Heidenheimer, Texas. We've lived out here for 24 years. Back this time, almost a year ago on May 22nd, was when we experienced the Heidenheimer tornado. And we did not really know it was coming because at the time I was watching the radar for over in Belton where my mom and sister live at. And that's what I was concerned with. And about that time, I noticed a tree by front of our house that broke off part of the tree, and it fell very close to our the windows. And I said, honey, we probably might have got to get someplace where it's a little safer. And so we got in the laundry room, and when the wind calmed down a little bit, my husband went out and looked out one side of the house, and I went out and looked at the other. And that's when he hollered out, honey, the roof of the barn's gone. Well, our horses were in the barn.
Hey, Tweety. Hey, Tweety. Yes. Hi, Socks. Don't trip the fence. Hi, Socks. Hi, Sweetie.
And that's when my adrenaline kicked in to get out there and check on the horses. So the storm was not over by any means. And I was out the door before he could stop me to go check on the horses. And they turned out to be okay. The barn was a mess. The roof was gone completely.
After a few days, we drove through here and we could tell the path where the tornado it stayed on the ground all the way through. But we're strong. We're going to make it.
When I came out the back door and I got from around the house that was kind of protecting me, I actually felt something kind of trying to lift me off the ground. And the only thing that went through my mind was, no, you're not going to do this. I'm getting to the barn to see about my horses. And I just kept running and nothing happened after that. My only concern at that time was just getting to my horses because they're my children. I've had them since late 1988. And we don't have two-legged kids. We have the four-legged kids that weigh 1,200 pounds and go neigh.
You really can't say. You got relief, you got happiness, you got sadness, depression, anxiety. You worry about your neighbors. You worry about yourself. But country people, we just put the mud boots on and we go to work.
Days and weeks went on. We found out that there was a whole lot more damage out here than I think anybody expected. There was an entire line of electrical towers out here, the great big towers that you normally see. That's the line that the tornado came down on, and it took out 21 towers. And from my understanding, those towers supplied the entire side of North Temple with power. And if you don't know how long that line went, when you came out and looked at it and saw how far it went, it just blew your mind. The insurance company we had, they jumped right on us and helped us out immediately. I know other places, other people around here had different insurance companies, and they had a lot of trouble.
And the insurance companies, shame on them. Shame on some of these insurance companies. Shame on some of them for the way that they treated their customers.
They wait till the very end moment to do something. Yeah. They will be gone, from the communication for 15, 20 days until you get hold of them.
We pay good money for our insurance. And then when we needed them, they begin to pick apart our insurance policies to show us what they did not have to pay us for. And it was so hurtful.
You pick up the phone, you call them, you have two options. Either you leave the voicemail for your desk adjuster or you get the front desk. What does the front desk do? The first question, what's your claim number? What's your name? What's the callback number? You know my callback number. This is my 561st call. But the same spiel again, and then, we'll pass on the message to your desk adjuster. Then what's the use of front desk? What are you doing? And this is every time. You want to try this, you call them now. I'll give you the extension number for the desk adjuster, and you will not be able to reach him.
So from that day, it was the sheer amount of tree damage across the roads, because by the time I went home, it was 11 o'clock, 11:30. I didn't get to see a lot in the daylight. My real lasting images come from the next day. When I got out onto 317 and I was elevated above the neighborhood a little bit, it was the number of roofs that had sustained massive damage.
Adriana here with 6 News. Right now I'm on Parkfield Lane in Temple, where a lot of that potential tornado hit down. Right now I have a piece of a roof right in my hands, and that's a lot of what we see here in this area. I want to turn over to this area right here in this home. They don't have any garage at all, and their roof has also been damaged a lot by that storm. The couple we spoke to earlier today told me they were shaken by what happened, and they said they didn't know what to do but just go inside of a closet, and that's where they hid, and they felt the floor shaking and they felt wind coming into their home. Luckily that couple is safe, but a lot of people in this area are still walking around trying to figure out what's next. I mean, a lot of roofs again are ripped out of where they were before because of that storm. A lot of debris on the ground, as well as a lot of trees on the ground too, blocking roadways. And again, that couple says they are safe, but they're still scared, and they hope the future of their home is okay.
This whole side row of houses, their roofs are almost completely gone. And I walked out and I just broke down. Yeah, it was just natural. It's crazy.
That was probably the biggest thing, is just coming out and just like you always hear about it or see it in movies, but for it to actually happen, it definitely just happy and blessed that we're okay.
And this couple is a part of the many people who had to evacuate this area due to safety precautions. Again, a lot of power lines are down in this area specifically, and that is a testament to all of the power that has been out in Temple. Now the cleanup for the next few days and maybe even weeks is underway.
Tornadoes typically are what we kind of think of when we think of destruction. But with these storms, they also have what are called rear flank downdraft winds. They can also have forward flank downdraft winds. All that means is a rush of very strong straight line winds coming straight down out of the storm. So what happens is once they hit the surface, they kind of level out and they become those straight line winds we talk about. What makes them so dangerous is they can be so strong. We're talking 90 to 100 mile per hour winds potentially, in addition to the tornado that is actively happening, maybe in a different location. Psychologically, what can make straight line winds so dangerous is when we do have a tornadic storm, that's where everybody's focus is going to be. They're not thinking about those 90 to 100 mile an hour straight line winds that can also accompany the storm. As a matter of fact, for downtown Temple, which didn't get hit directly by the tornado, we saw lots of businesses, including our own studio here, take some damage from those winds because, again, 90 to 100, even though it may not be as fast as what's happening inside the tornado, it is still very destructive, and I think people forget about that sometimes.
The whole area was like a war zone. You could find shingles, rubbles everywhere, backyard furniture, trash cans strewn everywhere, damage and chaos everywhere.
We've been here 27 years, and you were here when we came.
Yeah, so I've been here just as long, just a little bit longer.
Okay.
The houses were built in 95.
95.
And we've had a lot of neighbors come and go, but neighborhood's pretty much stayed the same. I know the sirens went off last night, and when the sirens went off, you know, you kind of take them with a grain of salt and you think. I grabbed my dog, so we went into the master bathroom closet that's on the innermost part of the house, and you could hear it hit, and then all of a sudden things started hitting the house. You could hear trash cans, you can hear boards, you can just hear things flying. It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
To see somebody, your neighbor, just completely lose. I mean,
She's
she
lost
has
everything.
Everything. She's lost everything.
You know, we've done this before, right? With Winter Storm Uri in 20, we handled a week of freezing and, you know, multiple public service issues. We had water line breaks, we had sewer issues, we had electric delivery issues. We did that in 20 and we survived it. We did that again in 21 with that ice storm, you know, again, the 600,000 cubic yards of material, and we're doing it again now. So we've done this before. Our public servants, our public safety folks know how to do this. Unfortunately, lately we are well seasoned in doing this, but we have it. The city of Temple will be just fine. And also I ask that you be sure that whenever you see your first responders, those folks that are out there in the fire trucks, in the squad cars, etc., whenever you see them after this is over, thank them, because they're the ones that are working hard to keep us safe.
A lot of the people that we interacted with pretty early on, the best way I could describe it is shock. There were a lot of people walking around in the streets just kind of out of it, having just survived, you know, a direct hit from a tornado.
What are we going to do? That was my first thought. What is my crew going to do? Everybody is out of work. You know, everybody has bills, everybody has kids, everybody has all of those life needs. And that was honestly my first thought. What are we going to do?
It was really scary. I get chills just thinking about that.
That feeling of helplessness. My son, the people I love, the customers, all of them were up there, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it.
This whole window right here and this table are covered in glass. Water is everywhere. The place is flooded. Equipment behind me knocked over, blown, everything. And I get a hold of them and I'm like, don't touch anything and go home. Like, I just want you to be safe. And they're like, well, we would, but the roof is on our cars.
Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Coming up here the next day, there were already looters just crawling through the rubble.
It should have been me there. I wish I was there. How can I help you? What can I do? And I can't get here, right? Every telephone line around us is down. The streets are shut down. And it was that moment of, I just want someone else to fix this because it's too scary to handle. You know, this is too much for me. I can't do this.
Was there a moment where you may have felt hopeless or hopeful? Maybe a moment where you're like, this is too much?
No, because by that time we were in it, so you didn't really have time to think or stop and kind of self-assess. You just went from one task to the next, one building to the next building, searching and clearing.
After the tornado went through and we started working in the recovery area, I was actually kind of amazed to see how well the school district worked with the city on establishing like a checkpoint for people to come into the disaster area, but also how many citizens were actually willing to come out with like chainsaws and other kind of tools to help the people that had stuff fall on their roofs or didn't have houses anymore.
It didn't take very long for the help to arrive, and the work began immediately. We really saw, this was a time when we saw neighbors helping neighbors.
My name is Sheila Whiteley, and I am the actual owner of the Second Wind Resale and Crafts. When the tornado hit and then we found out that Miss Opie lost her building, we were just really, really blessed to have a space to bring her in here.
She said, what are you going to do? I said, right now, I said, I don't know. I said, I wish I just still had my shop back, you know, but there was no way they could be repaired for all the damage that was inside of it. So Ms. Sheila said, you know what, I have a booth here, so let me tell you, I'm going to share half of it with you. And I said, are you sure you want to do that? She said, yes.
I did not know that people reacted so fast. It was immediately drop whatever you're doing and you help your neighbor.
We were out here trying to take care of some of these damages with these houses on the roof behalf and fence, so it's been quite a disaster. I think in the past 2 weeks we've done probably 20 roof jobs and at least 30 fence jobs, so we've been out here busting tail.
The way our neighborhood came together, we had people driving around with a truck and a chainsaw to help people get trees out, people driving around with water and snacks.
We found some neighbors that we had never even met before, and we've just become friends for life.
We're here to help, lean on your neighbors. I mean, that's the only way we're going to get through this, is to be together and work together to get through it.
That's right. And we have a strong neighborhood.
We do.
We have a good, strong neighborhood. Everybody will be all right.
Yeah, we've always been here for each other.
Our neighbors were so nice. Like, I was not here the day of the night of the tornado, and he came out and he boarded our wall up, the window that busted, and he helped her, made sure checked on her. I could not call them because the lines were down.
It didn't matter what you had going on at home, you just stopped what you were doing. Every single person came together.
These neighbors really helped us out so much when we needed them.
I can't tell you how much our parents truly helped us in time of need, that just showed up and said, we're here just to help clean up. Yep.
I knew I had a group of officers out there that I had to watch over, and I knew it was going to be a bad night. Even if it wasn't a tornado, I knew it was going to be a bad night. We were going to have a lot of damage, so I talked to her about making sure that they, sheltered and went to the, our safe spot. But that was really tough. That weighed on me a lot through the entire event.
It's like a nightmare, really, I hope we never have to go through there again.
You feel that this is not happening, you probably are dreaming about it, but
it's not true. This is not true. This is a bad dream. You're gonna wake up soon.
The air conditioning unit came down right on top of the table that had a family sitting at it. So just the sheer fact that nobody was injured, that's a win. So you count your blessings where you can, you look for the silver lining where you can, and you move on and try to make things better.
A couple inches of difference could have been the difference of me doing this interview or me being the only person that died in that tornado.
But she was at home alone with the kids and having to go through this alone, and that's what bothered me about it, is knowing that she was frightened and that she was having to deal with this powerful storm and protecting her kids by herself. That was hard.
When I heard about the heroes my crew was, it was nothing but love in my heart. Yeah, I was proud. I mean, I couldn't have been more proud if I'd have been their daddy.
I have to look at the bright side and the blessings that, everybody was safe, nobody died, and that, we'll get through this and we'll build stronger.
I think with the amount of damage that was sustained, we've done a really good job of getting close in the past year. If you drive down West Adams, you'll still see businesses that aren't quite ready to open just yet. You still see houses in that subdivision off of 317, a couple that are still studs at this point as they're continuing to try and get rebuilt. I think when you sustain that magnitude of damage, I think it's really hard within a year's time to get back to normal. And I do know, just from talking to people out in the community, whenever we have storms at this point, their radar is still on high alert because of what happened that night. So I don't think you ever really get back to normal from a psychological standpoint. I think your new normal is just, if you weren't already, it's being hyper aware of the weather, especially in the spring.
Time flies. I can't believe it's been 1 year.
So what do you do now?
As far as?
Severe weather.
Oh, I don't get out in it. I check my radar. I got my emergency alerts back on.
Believe me, when I stay on the news now. I didn't used to. I'd be watering my plants or doing something else outside, and I told my husband, as soon as 6 o'clock come, I want to watch the news. And the 10 o'clock, even though, oh yeah, they're number one now. Yeah, I don't miss it, Even last night, I said, I told my husband, as soon as the news comes, I say, I'm going to go watch this, and I'll come right back. Oh yeah, I want to see. I want to know what's going on.
Trust me, when weather comes, when we get weather in this area, I am paying attention. The next time that we're supposed to get a big weather here or a tornado, the horses will not be in the barn. If I have to let them out on the road so they can run away from it themselves, that's what I will do.
I don't know if they will ever return to normal. The innocence is not there. Every time a storm hits, all of the old crew are going to be looking. I guess it's PTSD, I don't know.
And now we're set up to the point where we have to be ready for a tornado. Every single last one of us. What if our pets are outside? Oh my gosh, shoot, y'all. It does, it's a frightening thought. It's a frightening thought.
It's put a whole new perspective in my mind about what an F1 can do, how powerful just even an F1 can be. And we weren't even in the line of fire, to be honest with you. We were a quarter of a mile away.
It was amazing how quickly they rebuilt all the buildings and homes in the years since the tornado.
My mom is the strongest woman I've ever met. I've never met a woman who overcomes adversity the way she does. My dad is a brilliant man, and those two together is what makes dreams like this come to reality. I mean, when I asked my mom, I was just like, what are we gonna do? And she said, what we always do.
The emotions are a little bit, it's hard to describe. It's overwhelming to see the kids, the happy tears, to say, I'm so glad I'm home. The kids their pictures are on the wall. Thank you so much for putting my picture on the wall. David has worked really hard, my husband, for the last 5 months. 15-hour days to make this happen for the kiddos, and I think he's probably a little overwhelmed. Blood, sweat, and tears, every second was worth it.
When we were finishing up, we walked around the building, and our old van, our original van, is in the back. And you look up above the trees, and the cross on that church is lit up. And you saw it just like beaming, and it was like, we were supposed to do this.
Well, I think everybody really, as a community, did a great job recovering. You know what I mean? I think whoever, I don't know who's involved with what, but whether it's the city or, emergency services, whatever, we got power back on. I feel like in a quick amount of time, we had so much support and help from other areas. I think it was easy to go back to normal. I think there are certain people who had certain difficulties in their personal life that only they could deal with, such as, home damage, property damage, all the things like that may have taken longer. But I feel like with the time that's passed and the help, that we gave each other as a community and got from surrounding areas, I think it made it easier to go back.
I can only hope that those that aren't open yet and those that aren't rebuilt yet can do bigger and better things as they come down the line. Business may be slow some days and business may be booming some days, but my only hope is that when they reopen, they get booming every day, because I got lucky that here I am 3 months post tornado and I got to open, and here they are a year post tornado and they're not there.
And I don't plan on ever moving. I'm a Texan. I'm a born and raised Texan. I love this area. I'm not ever going to leave it. This is my home.
It's taught me a lot about, dealing with things I hadn't had to deal with, a different type of adversity, a different type of appreciation for your life, and, understanding that every day is a gift.
I'm not worried about going through another one. My chances are very slim, I believe. And if God wants to put me through another one, I'll go through another one, and I'll get back up and we'll rebuild and we'll go on.
No, all in all, it was just a year of like moving forward from it, I guess, not letting anything kind of slow me down on it. I got a tattoo. I don't know if I got the whole Grim Reaper tattoo. This was the last thing I did because this was 6 months after the wreck, and I felt like this one was incredibly painful. I thought all my scar tissue healed, and it didn't. So I got this done, and that was kind of like my last thing with it. I was like, cool, like that hurt really bad, but the entire area of scar tissue is covered now. So kind of like...
Oh, so scars were there.
Oh yeah, all the way up.
I guess I would just want people to take away, this is what Mother Nature can do. You know, a lot of the times we see these events from afar and, you know, we're enamored by the beauty of nature, but with that beauty there is a certain amount of destruction that is possible.
Sometimes people get desensitized or, you know, oh, it's not going to happen
Not
here.
going to happen here. No, it can happen here.
I think I'm just looking forward to what's next for our community. It was, like I said, it was a disaster that came through that we had never experienced before, at least I haven't. And it's been really amazing to see how everyone's kind of pushed back and bounced back from that situation to kind of go in a positive direction.
I'd say Temple strong. I think that the response that Temple had to the event was amazing. It was extraordinary. And from the local government standpoint and from the citizens who live here and call Temple home, it is a strong community, and I know that events like this, and God forbid they occur in the future, they're not going to hold Temple down.
I think when you see that kind of damage, there are a lot of emotions that you go through. On the one hand, you're absolutely heartbroken for possessions lost, for livelihoods lost, for businesses and homes destroyed. On the other hand, I think you have to be somewhat overjoyed that everybody walked away from that. Having seen the damage, everybody walked away with that with their lives. There were injuries, but it absolutely could have been worse.